Hello, in this video I'm going to record myself while I run some analysis on the Wisconsis card sorting test from Inquisit. Specifically, we are going to use R in order to select the reaction time for the different part of the Wisconsis card sorting test. And we are going also to calculate the switch cost, which is the difference between the time in which the participant for the first time perform a new correct action and the time in which the participant was continuously performing the same action by using the same stimuli characteristics. So, for example, if the participant has to switch from number of the stimuli to color of the stimuli, the switch cost will be the difference between the first time in which the participant get color of the stimuli corrected minus the times in which a participant was keep doing the same task repeated in a repeated way. So this script use R and use the Excel file from Inquisit. In this, I call this file data underscore WCST. You can call whatever you like. However, you have to make sure that this name match the name into the script. Now I'll open R. In order, so I'm going to use RStudio. In order for this script to work, you need to install two libraries, which are dplyr and clipr. The first one is a data manipulation library, so it allows to do things like selecting specific columns or selecting specific row and collapsing those together to create a new data set, while clipr is just copying and paste data on the memory of the computer, so will allow you to use a clip to copy your data on a new Excel file, for example. How this works? So the first thing you have to do is obviously install this two library by using install and these basically names. After that, you have to call the two libraries, and I have included this in the script. So basically, by selecting this row and pressing run, you run the row on the script. And now I am basically telling her that I want to use these two different package. I also will import the dataset. So if you go on this part of your screen on import dataset, we go in import dataset from Excel, and then I'll go on the desktop. And my dataset is called data WCST. Obviously, you can save the dataset in any place you want on your computer, so doesn't have to be on the desktop. I'll just close it because otherwise R could not open it. So I am opening. And as you see, the dataset has been opened by R. So I have this dataset imported on my data environment, and I can see it here. So now, if what I want to do, so before I start, I just want to highlight that my dataset is called data underscore WCST, and this is the same name I have given to the Excel file. Okay, so if you decide to call the Excel file something different, what you have to do is to change the name here, because otherwise this is not going to work. Or you can just call your file data underscore WCST. So the first thing I'm going to do is to select the data for one participant. This participant in this case is myself, and my ID was ANA 67802. However, anytime you want to load the data about a new participant, you have to change this text here. You have to leave the brackets there, not change anything else, just change the letters and the alphanumeric code within these brackets. So the first thing I'm going to do, again, I put the mouse here, and I just press run, and the program is had selected the rows that are relative to this participant. Then I will create a dataset which just select a few columns from this dataset. These columns are block code, block number, which will tell us when the participant is switching the block. So, for example, is changing from shape to color, or from number to shape, for example. Then we have a trial number. We select correct because it will give us the first correct trial, as well as when participant is making error while updating the rule in their mind. Then correct streak and latency. Latency is the reaction time, and correct streak is another number that we need to understand in which part of the task participants are finding themselves. So I run this other row. Again, you just put the mouse here and run. When it is ready, you can just run. It will work correctly. Then I will run this other part in which we will select the relevant rows for the data analysis. Now we are basically going to calculate the average and the reaction time and the standard deviation of the reaction time, and we are going to calculate the outliers. So in this way you will basically get rid of all the outlier data from your dataset. So all the time in which participant has been very quick, meaning that they were probably not answering correctly, or all the time in which they were taking too much time to answer. And we also will exclude all the trial that were the reaction time was shorter than 100, because this is probably an error, and all the reaction time that were longer than 3 standard deviation. This is from a paper that I've used the same task. So I've took this thing from a paper. I've took these exclusion criteria from a paper that have used the same task. Then we basically calculate the outliers by following the quartile rule, and so the interquartile difference. Basically, this part of the script is calculating the first quartile and the third and the fourth quartile, and is multiplying the interquartile difference by 1.5, and then basically will it will screen out all participants that perform above or below the first and fourth quartile plus 1.5 time the interquartile difference, which sounds a very complex things, but basically it's just taking off the outliers from your dataset. Then we calculate basically we eliminate the outliers from the dataset. We calculate the reaction time. Then we calculate the reaction time for the repeat trials, so the trials in which participant is keep doing what they were doing before, and this is the repeat trial reaction time. As you can see, while I do stuff occur here, meaning that I am creating new variables. Then I will create the reaction time for the switch trials, and write again the the average reaction time for the trial in which the participant is applying a brand new rule correctly. Then I will subtract the first value to the second, and this is the switch effect. Okay, sorry for the interruption. I just realized that I made a mistake, but now it's solved. So when you want to save the data, what you need to do is basically, let me save here, is basically click on here, and this create a data frame in which we will include the reaction time, the switch effect, the reaction time for the state trials, and the reaction time for the switch trials. Then we run the last row, and that will basically create a clip in the memory of the computer. Now if we go and open a new spreadsheet, basically we can copy and paste this number, and we're gonna have the switch effect, the switch trials reaction time, and the repeat trials reaction time, and that's it. Obviously you can add a row and write the ID of your participant here, so you know who the participant is, and that's basically it. You just have to run this several times for all your participants, making sure that you change the name here every time, and that will basically be it. Okay.